You didn't do anything wrong. You didn't lie, you didn't betray anyone, you didn't raise your voice or start drama, and yet there's always someone who just doesn't like you. You can feel it without them saying a word. The way conversations shift when you walk in, the way your name sounds different in their mouth. Most people spend years trying to fix this, changing how they dress, how they talk, how much space they take up, shrinking themselves down, hoping that if they just become a little less, the resentment will stop. It won't, because what they hate about you has nothing to do with your flaws. It has everything to do with what you've become. The Stoics understood something about human nature that most people still haven't figured out, that resentment is rarely about the person being resented. It's about the person doing the resenting. It's about what you represent to them, what you remind them of, what you make impossible for them to ignore about themselves. There are 7 specific things that trigger this kind of hatred, 7 reasons that have nothing to do with your character and everything to do with your growth. And once you understand them, really understand them, you'll never carry that weight the same way again. Let's go through them one by one. 1. You are living proof that change is possible. The first reason is probably the one nobody talks about, because admitting it requires a level of self-awareness most people simply don't have. When you commit to becoming better, when you wake up earlier, when you hold yourself accountable, when you heal from wounds that others still refuse to examine, you don't just change yourself, you become something far more uncomfortable to be around. You become a mirror. And mirrors are brutal things. Your discipline does not accuse anyone. Your healing does not point fingers. But to someone who has been avoiding their own reflection for years, simply watching you grow feels like a verdict. They do not hate you. They hate the evidence you carry, that growth was always possible, and they chose not to pursue it. You didn't provoke their resentment. You simply refused to remain small enough to make their smallness feel normal. 2. You no longer play the role they wrote for you. There is a particular kind of love that is really control in disguise. It is the love that says, I liked you better when you needed me. I liked you better when you were lost. I liked you better when I could define you. Some people in your life have built a version of you in their minds, a character, a role, and for a time, perhaps, you played it. Maybe you were the one who always apologized, the one who never said no, the one who carried everyone else's weight and called it loyalty. But you changed, and change, even beautiful, necessary change, can feel like betrayal to those who benefited from who you used to be. They are not grieving who you are, they are grieving who you were, because who you were was easier to manage. Stoicism teaches us that our nature is to evolve. Epictetus, who was born a slave and died a free philosopher, understood this better than anyone. He said, we cannot choose our circumstances, but we can always choose who we become within them. When you outgrow a role, some people will resent the rewrite. That resentment is not your burden to carry. 3. Your honesty makes performance uncomfortable. We live in a world that applauds performance, the carefully curated image, the version of yourself designed to generate approval. People spend enormous energy constructing a persona for every room they walk into. And then there is you, the same in private as you are in public, not performing, not shape-shifting, just present and real and consistent. That authenticity does something threatening to people who have built their entire identity on performance. It does not judge them, it does not call them out, but by simply existing as you are, you expose the gap between who they pretend to be and who they actually are. People do not hate honesty, they hate what honesty reveals about the distance they have traveled from themselves. Seneca wrote, "It is not that I am brave, it is that I know what deserves fear and what does not." When you live honestly, you rob dishonesty of its camouflage, and that is a threat no one will admit to, but everyone will feel.
4. Your boundaries ended their access. There was a version of you that said yes when you meant no, that apologized before you even knew what you had done wrong, that gave and gave and gave until giving felt like the only way to feel safe. And some people loved that version of you. Not because they loved you, but because that version of you was endlessly available to them. The moment you changed that, the moment you protected your time, your energy, your peace, something shifted in how they treated you. They called it arrogance. They called it coldness. They said you had changed, as if change was something shameful. But here is what they will never say out loud. They do not hate your boundaries. They hate that your boundaries ended their access. The Stoics were relentless about this. Self-respect is not cruelty. It is clarity. When you know your value, you stop discounting yourself for people who only showed up for the discount. Access is earned. It was never owed. 5. Your direction reveals their drift. There is something quietly unsettling about watching someone who knows exactly where they're going when you have no idea where you are. Your focus is not a weapon. Your clarity is not a criticism. But when someone is drifting, moving through life without intention, without purpose, without a destination, your direction feels like a reproach. Not because you said anything, not because you judged anyone, but because your certainty casts a shadow over their uncertainty. They are not intimidated by your success. They are confronted by their own lack of direction. Marcus Aurelius spent years leading the Roman Empire while waging internal wars against self-doubt and distraction. In his journal, written only for himself, he wrote reminders to stay on purpose. Not for glory, not for recognition, because a life without direction is a life without meaning. Keep moving forward. Your vision was never meant for their comfort. It was meant for your calling. 6. Your stillness exposes their chaos. When the world is loud, you stay quiet. When others are spiraling, you breathe. When conflict arises, you do not react, you respond. And that calm, that stillness you have cultivated through practice and pain does something profound. It reminds people who have never learned to regulate themselves that regulation is possible. And for someone drowning in their own emotional chaos, watching you stay afloat is not comforting. It is maddening. They will call your calm arrogance. They will say you are cold, detached, unfeeling. They will mistake your discipline for indifference. But stillness is not the absence of feeling. It is the mastery of it. Epictetus taught that the goal was not to eliminate emotion, it was to ensure that emotion did not eliminate you. When you have done that work, when you have earned your peace, do not apologize for it. Do not shrink it to make someone else's chaos feel more comfortable. Your stillness is not arrogance, it is armor, and it was built at a cost they have not yet paid. 7. You do not need their approval to feel complete. This is perhaps the most threatening thing of all. Most social systems run on the currency of approval. People give and withhold it strategically. It's how hierarchies are maintained, how loyalty is manufactured, how control is exercised without ever being named. And then there's someone who simply does not need it. Not out of coldness, not out of pride, but because they have done the interior work, the kind of work that builds a foundation that does not require other people's validation to remain standing. When you do not need their approval, you cannot be controlled by its absence, and that is terrifying to people whose entire influence depends on you wanting something from them. Seneca wrote, "He who seeks what is enough will never be poor. He who seeks more than enough will never be rich." Apply that to approval. Seek only the approval that comes from living in alignment with your values, and you will never be at the mercy of those who make approval a weapon. You are complete without their endorsement. That completeness is not a wall, it is a liberation. If even one of these reasons resonated with you today, I want you to hear this clearly. Their hatred is not information about your worth, it is information about their wound. The Stoic philosophers did not promise a life without opposition. They promised something far more valuable, a life in which opposition could not break you, because the only thing that truly belonged to you was your response. So when someone resents your growth, let them. When someone is threatened by your stillness, let them be unsettled. When someone hates you for needing nothing from them, wish them peace and keep walking. The world will always react to your power. People will always have opinions about your evolution. Some will celebrate you, others will resent you. The Stoics knew this. They walked forward anyway, and so will you. If even one of these reasons resonated with you today, I want you to hear this clearly. Their hatred is not information about your worth. It is information about their wound. The Stoic philosophers did not promise a life without opposition. They promised something far more valuable, a life in which opposition could not break you, because the only thing that truly belonged to you was your response. So when someone resents your growth, let them. When someone is threatened by your stillness, let them be unsettled. When someone hates you for needing nothing from them, wish them peace and keep walking. The world will always react to your power. People will always have opinions about your evolution. Some will celebrate you, others will resent you. The Stoics knew this. They walked forward anyway, and so will you. If this message reached something inside you today, share it with someone who needs to hear it. Subscribe for more timeless Stoic wisdom, and remember, you are not too much. You are not the problem. You are simply further along than they expected you to be. Keep rising, keep building, and never, ever, ever apologize for the person you are becoming.